Hi, and welcome everybody to the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Channel. This is the Winner's Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Ross Benjamin, and like every Wednesday, and it is Wednesday, February the 7th, Super Bowl week, and I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues today, Mr. Jesse Schule and Mr. Sean Higgs. Gentlemen, starting with you, Sean, how are you?
Well, a little annoyed yesterday. So I had South Carolina at a 3.5. Yeah, that did not quite get there. Texas Tech at a +6. I got a push out of that guy. What am I going to do? I did a 2-0-1 in my 3-pack, but overall day was a 3-3-1 day with college basketball there, Ross. So
could be much worse. So
I can't complain. As I said, it's been a nice year so far with college basketball. 119 and 90, it's 55%, but not too shabby. And I believe it's right around the same for February as well. Same kind of percentage-wise, maybe a little bit better. It's actually the same, 23 and 19. So same percent. Money in the pocket though. So here we go. On to today. Got some games up for today.
All right, sounds good, Mr. Higgs, who's a volume handicapper, and he does awfully well, folks, over at gamblersworld.net, which is our sponsor, and where you're guaranteed that if you don't win, you don't make a profit with any of the 10 great handicappers there, including us three. We will credit your account back the exact amount that you paid for your purchase, and that's on all single game, multi-game daily packages, as well as subscription plans of 30 days or fewer. By the way, folks, we have a Super Bowl Squares contest going on right now at gamblersworld.net. It costs you only $10 to enter, and we're paying out $500 at the half and $500 for the final score. So I know all of you out there are familiar with Super Bowl Squares. Go to gamblersworld.net right now. Click on that banner. You'll see right on the homepage. You can't miss it. It says Super Bowl Squares contest. And get yourself going and get some prize money, possibly $500 for the half, $500 for the final score. Jesse, how are you, my man?
I'm doing well, Ross. Coming off of another sweep yesterday. Lady Luck has been on my side. Anytime you go on a run like this, you got to attribute some of it to luck anyways. And looking forward to building up some momentum for the Super Bowl. And hitting over 60% for 2024 so far. Off to another good start. I remember we were doing this last year in the beginning of 2023. So, just keep on trucking, I guess.
Yeah, that South Carolina game, Sean got down early at 4.5. It came down to, I think, 3.5. But Jesse cashed in with that game because he had it on the money line at -156. So, if you want to know why we go to the money line sometime, well, that's the reason why. And I mean, Sean wouldn't entertain that at -4.5, which that money line would have been much higher. And again, me and Sean don't like to press the envelope too much on the money line over when it gets to 150 or higher. But Jesse, he presses it a little further. He's not an extreme guy where he's going to be giving you 190s -200. But we all have our way about how we go about things. At the end of the day, if you're successful, it doesn't matter.
And let me qualify that, Ross, just in case there's any doubters out there. You guys may have remembered I have shared my record with Moneyline college basketball plays for the last decade on my Twitter page, and screenshots and proof from various different websites. And the numbers certainly indicate that I'm on the right track by playing those money line bets when you're talking about short favorites and shaving off a couple points. It's been the single most profitable wager of any sport in any wager type that I've played.
And again, I'm not a huge and even baseball. And I said this before, like I had to stop trying to overthink like I'm smarter and be like, I can't do that. I'm going to go to a puck line on hockey or a run line in baseball. So the games last night, a couple of half-point losers, whatever. Under 3 points, I'm up to 43 half-point losses and this is from like a half up to like a line of 3, not getting 14.5 and losing by half. These are up to like 3 points where a lot of times when I put the games up, there's not a money line option on a team -1 or +1. So I have 43 games, which honestly, if I did money lines on all these, chances are I'm up for the season if I get the money lines on the site. So, like, listen, me and Russ won't go to the 150s like Jess, but Jesse's record speaks for itself on the number of games, the amount of wins, the percentages over a long haul. I mean, they do pay off.
You know what happens to me, Sean? I decide that I want to take a favorite that's -1.5. But of course, I don't want to lay 1.5. I want to get them, -120 or whatever the price is going to be. But because the money lines aren't out right away, I find myself waiting. But by the time that the money line's available, they're -3.5, and it's a -150 or -170. And by that point, I feel like I'm committed. That's the side I want. So in some cases, I end up with a favorite that's a little too high for my liking, but I've already committed. I feel strongly about the play. I wish I had got down at -1 or -1.5 earlier, but I ended up having to lay the 150, 160.
It makes sense, though, Jess. If you were going to lay a 1.5 or 2, like, all right, I think they're going to win here. Why wouldn't you just lay the one? They still just have to win the game at this point. Now you don't have to worry about the spread. So I understand the thinking. It's just like, hey, I got to change my way. It's cost me. And
well, I tell you, Sean, I never started doing money line wagering in football or basketball till about 2020. Actually, I started doing it because I woke up and smelled the coffee. I don't get down too early. Okay. Number one, like you guys like to get down early, and like Jesse just alluded to, he might see a point spread at -1.5, -2, and he likes the favorite in that situation. But if you're familiar with how the sports books operate, 95% of them put out the point spread first, and then it's hours later that the money line comes out. So, and by then, a -1.5 favorite could go to a -3. And now that money line, which would have been around -125, goes up to 155, like Jesse's touched upon. But my NBA money line picks, 39-15 since 2020. And those are all favorites of -140 or less, or a couple short underdogs. So it works, folks. And at the end of the day, 39-15 sounds great. The win percentage, I should say, which is, I believe, around 72%. As soon as I start hearing money line records and bragging about point percentage, I want to know about ROI. Okay, so when Jesse says he's got a good money line record and a profitable money line record, that's the name of the game, because 65% means nothing to me if you're not making money. And it is possible, folks, believe it or not. There's guys out there that will hit 65% with their money line picks and just focus on the win percentage, and they don't tell you about the 3 -200 losers that they had this week. That puts you in the negative.
Knicks -1,800.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's a perfect example. They did win last night, but that's stupidity, because one loss like that, you have to win 19 games to overcome that. So and 19
what I gotta say one last thing. As much as I'm complaining about my half-point kind of nonsense, I had South Florida last night -2, and they won by 3 with a couple of free throws, like no time on the clock. I'd already marked it as a loser. So
I had
you catch a couple of those, but you need a lot more. They have not been in the same percentage amounts. They're not even the same ballpark as my half.
Okay, guys, you ready for it? The last decade, my money line college basketball
Florida
plays.
-134. So perfect example of that. And they weren't. Sorry, Jesse, I'll get right to you. And they weren't leading. Their first lead they had in the game was less than a minute to go. So
59 seconds.
There you go. The money line works out for you. Jesse, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Okay, well, let's review the last decade for me, money line college basketball. It is 295 wins, 153 losses, 66%. The profit is 71 dimes at a dime a game. So 71 times your stake over the last decade, roughly around 500 plays on the money line.
Although someone will tell you, Jesse, in the comments, how that's not really a lot of plays for that amount of time. So that's It's not good
or,
enough.
or it only works out to $5 a day or
Yes.
whatever.
Somebody said
Yeah.
that to you. Someone said that to
Yeah.
him. It's like,
So they don't want that 71 dimes. That 71 dimes is not good money because it took me too long to make it, I guess.
Yeah, it's and like Sean says, it's a grind. Too
oh, my
many people are
goodness.
in a race. We're in it for the long haul, and it's all about making your money over the long haul.
They want that in a week. That should be
exactly.
that's what they're told in their
the funny
Discord
thing
channels.
is, you go on Twitter, you listen to guys talk. How many guys talk about streaks going back 10 years? Not very many, right? A lot of guys are like, oh, I won 9 of my last 10. I swept the board yesterday. People eat it up. And then you tell them about a 10-year streak, 66%, and they hit you back with that's not good enough. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Well, it's the mindset. It's the mindset of the get rich quick mentality, as opposed to making money. This is how you make a living out of this. The bottom, like me, I was going to mention this in my promo, but 116 and 86 with my college basketball top plays over at Sports Capping, which itemizes top play records. And that's only 57%, but over that course of time, it's made dime bettors $21,000. I don't know.
And it's more than that, really, because if it's the top play, you should put maybe a little bit more on it.
I always say top play. Here's what I always recommend, Sean. Regular play, top plays. I never give out more than one of them in a sport on any particular night. And I always recommend to my clients to pay 50% more on your top play. And you don't want to, the ideology behind that is you don't want to lose a top play by going twice as much on the play and go 2-1 for the night and end up losing money because your top play lost. So I always say 1.5%. You guys, I don't know what your logic is on that, but I'd be curious to hear it. And then we'll get on to our picks. Sean?
Well, I mean, for me, I'm more of kind of flat. Football's a little different because there's less games once a week. I could rate games a little better, but I put just a little, maybe a half unit size more, maybe if you wanted.
That's exactly what I'm saying. 50%
double up.
more.
You don't go crazy. People think like, oh, it's my big, and I get it. It's my favorite game. I like it a lot. But you know what? You don't have the discipline that I have and that you have, Ross or Jesse. Like those people will end up risking everything, thinking, well, it was your game. It should have won. Well, it could lose too.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes down to it, it's a yes or no question. It's a win, yes or it's nothing's guaranteed. I love it a lot. Doesn't mean it's going to win. I'm not telling you to put your children on it. Just put a little bit more. It's a grind. It's not one game in one day.
Yeah, no doubt, Jesse.
Yeah, I've changed things up since the folding of covers or their handicapping division at covers. And I've gone from a model of all my top plays used to be 10 stars to now I have 5-star, anything 5-star and up, I call a 10-star, or sorry, anything 5-star and up, I call a top play. So I have 5-star top plays, which is the common ones, the game of the month, game of the week, this kind of the ones you'll see several of them a month. And then there's the 10-star top plays, which is strictly like game of the years. And those I recommend you almost double up on the stake. And the 5-star is just 20% more than a regular play.
Uh-oh.
Did we lose Ross?
Ross is frozen. He's in frozen.
Bring back Ross.
He's got that serious face. All right. Well, you know what? Let's
Free
get
Ross
into it.
Benjamin.
I'll start, and I got the Providence Creighton game. It's 2 and a 142, and I'm going to be kind of short here. And Providence, the coach last game, an embarrassing loss. They look terrible. They dropped 2 in a row.
Well, if you go back,
oh, here he is. Is he back?
He is back.
Well, he's partially back.
He was back for a second.
I'm going to be rolling with Providence here. Lost to 18 to Nova. What? You go on the road and lose to UConn? Acceptable. Lose by 9, you battle. You get smoked by a Nova team that looks terrible? Oh, boy. Oh, my goodness. It's a two-headed monster.
Oh, no. It's the
side
Matrix.
By side.
He's an agent in the Matrix.
Where was I? I don't remember.
Jesse was talking and you froze, so I just jumped into the Providence. I jumped into my Providence game here.
All right. Did you give out the pick in the analysis?
I said I'm taking Providence on the money line. I said, Coach, of a totally embarrassing loss. I know that Creighton looked awesome. You put up 99 points or 98 points at the game. You probably should when you score 98 points in college basketball. I don't know. The two looks really light, as we like to say here. And yesterday we saw both of those games. We had BYU, Oklahoma, Texas, and Texas play, but one lost. I'm jumping on the home team here. Probably should have did yesterday. I did take BYU in this spot yesterday instead of Oklahoma. It bit me in my giant butt, but I will take the Friars today. Let's go, Fry guys. Providence money line.
So Sean likes them on the money line at plus 115. They are plus 2 on the point spread, folks. So I would prefer to take the points. If anytime they want to give me points, I like taking them. But again, when you're plus 2, you're basically, to win the ticket, 95% of the time you're going to have to win. Probably higher than that. You're going to have to win the game outright. So I see Sean's logic in that regard. Get the extra 15 cents on a dollar. Jesse, did you give your retort to that, or?
I did not, but it won't surprise you, Ross, that I'm in full agreement with Sean. Yes, he does have a giant butt, and yes, I do like Providence. The way I see it, you got the home dog here. Providence is 11-2 at home. Creighton 5-2 on the road. You look at Creighton's road wins, though. You got Georgetown, Seton Hall, and DePaul. So, Hall's not a bad team, but Georgetown and DePaul, you're not getting a lot of credit for those wins. They lost on the road to Marquette and UConn. Providence isn't quite in that category, but perhaps closer than those other three teams. You look at the head-to-head in the past meetings. Creighton has won 6 of the last 10. They've been the better team. However, they failed to cover in 8 of the last 9. And if you look at their last 4 at Providence, last year they lost 94-86 in overtime. The previous year, they lost in 2022. They won by 2 in 2021 and lost in 2020. Providence plays these guys hard. If you were getting more than 2, it might creep into my premium card. But at 2, it's just a lean. I will take the 2 instead of money line. Always taken if they're giving them.
Yeah, I'm the same way. But again, I'm not going to crucify Sean for making that kind of decision, even though he's lost all these games by a half a point on point spread.
43 games, man.
He turns around and he takes a plus 115 when he could have 2.
I do have, I think, 17 wins on the other side of that window, but still, the drop off, it should be. You think it'd be 50-50. It's not even close to 50-50.
Yeah. So Sean could be a problem child for me sometime. But at the end of the day, he gets good report cards at the end of the month. So I don't give him too hard of a time. Anyway, Jesse, your game. We're going to be looking at Auburn and Alabama. Auburn's going to be the host here. And they're going to be playing with revenge, as these teams just met recently. And Alabama won the game by 4. They jumped up to a 14-point halftime lead, and Auburn made a game of it down the stretch. 2 real good teams here. And right now, the current line is Auburn minus 5.5 and a total of 163. Take it away, my friend.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of money coming in on Auburn here, and that is the side I like. You guys might remember maybe a week ago on this show, we talked about Alabama on the road at Georgia, and Georgia was catching 6 points. I loved Georgia in that game. And Alabama's down by 14 at halftime. Georgia was covering in that game until the final minute, and then they blow the cover in like the final minute. I was kind of upset by that, but we're going to get it back. We're going to punish Alabama here. Auburn is a far better team than Georgia, especially defensively. Auburn's one of the top defensive teams in the SEC. Both teams high scoring, both teams averaging a ton of points, but only one of them plays defense. That's the home team. this Alabama. The reason I was against Alabama on the road at Georgia is because they got blown out by 20 at Tennessee, and they barely beat Vanderbilt. They won by just 3 points on the road at Vanderbilt. That's a bad look. They haven't really, they're 3-2 on the road, but they're not beating anybody good. And tough game in a revenge spot at Auburn. I like Auburn to get it done and cover.
There you go. So Jesse likes Auburn -5.5 over Alabama. And the home away dichotomies of Alabama, they're not horrible on the road, but by the same token, Jesse brought up a couple instances, namely the one at Tennessee, in which they got blown out. But this is two good teams here, Sean. And, Auburn, I think the difference between the two, as Jesse pointed out, is both are explosive offensively, but Auburn, to me, is far the better team on the defensive end of the floor. They just caught a red-hot Alabama team in the first half of their previous meeting where Alabama just couldn't miss. But your take on this game?
Well, yeah. I mean, Alabama, you look at their record and you're like, oh, well, how good they could be. They're 8-1. They're 16-6, 8-1 in SEC play. Not too shabby. But the line tells you Auburn's to play here. I mean, it was 5.5, 6s. They got crushed by Tennessee. They come back and they scored the big win over Auburn. So we have a nice little revenge spot for Auburn here. You're laying points where you think, wow, this is a lot of points to be laying to a ranked team. They're kind of similar. Well, again, this goes back to teams on the road. Auburn lost to Mississippi State, lost at Alabama. These guys lost to Tennessee. We're down 14 to Georgia. Winning on the road is tough. I'm taking Auburn. I'm already on Auburn myself, so I agree with Jesse. It's a good spot. I like that the number keeps going up. Don't fall for, hey, it's a ranked kind of team. You got to take the points. Doesn't mean anything.
One more point. Just the last game, Alabama's last road game at Georgia, they were down 14 at halftime. I don't think they're going to like their chances of coming back against this Auburn team the way they did against Georgia. So if they get off that kind of,
I had Georgia that game.
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah, I had Alabama actually.
That was a big play for me. I really liked Georgia in that game.
Yeah, I had the other side, but I felt quite fortunate to win that game.
I went real fast. We're talking about these road teams. So last night on the late show, somebody's talking about a favorite on the road. I said, let's look at these teams. I just went through a bunch of the marquee conferences. All the teams in first place, 18-3, 19-4. All the losses, all on the road conference play. All losses. It's tough to win on the road when you're an elite team.
Yeah,
I think I mentioned about the Georgia Alabama game. I said Georgia was one of the worst teams in the SEC last year, and they were still 11-2 at home.
Yeah.
And they were at the bottom of the standings, and that's really common that. Even the worst teams in the conference still have pretty decent record. They're still tough to beat on their home floor, no matter how bad they are.
Absolutely, especially if they're catching points. They're a good betting value too on most occasions. But in any event, there you have it, folks. Right now we're looking at Sean likes Providence plus 115 on the money line over Creighton. And Jesse likes Auburn to revenge their loss at Alabama a couple weeks ago. He's going to take the Auburn Tigers -5.5 over Alabama. If you've been with us the last couple of days, I had a couple winners for you on the free picks. Virginia on Monday, and then yesterday I had the Texas Tech game over 144.5. So let's make it a perfect week, folks. And I can't make it a perfect week unless I go 3-0 before I go 6-0. So let's start with today's winner, and that's going to be in the Nebraska Northwestern game, which goes at 9:00 tonight. Right now, Northwestern is a 4-point favorite, and the total in this game is 142.5. Excuse me, Northwestern is a 5.5-point favorite. They opened at 4. All right, so here's the thing. I mean, talk about home-away dichotomies and being tough at home and not so much on the road in these major conferences. Nebraska is a textbook example of such. The Cornhuskers are a perfect 6-0 on their home court, and they've covered 5 of their 6 in Big Ten play. But in Big Ten away games, they're 0-6 straight up and 1-5 against the spread, losing by an average of 12.2 points per game. However, they did play, I must notate, they did play a very strong game in their previous road matchup, which I believe was on Saturday at Illinois. And they took the Illini, who are an excellent team, into overtime before losing by 3. And that was their first cover in Big Ten play on the road, as they covered as a 9.5-point favorite. However, that's a tough loss, and now they have to rebound from playing that nationally ranked opponent to go to Northwestern. And this is a Northwestern team 5-0 straight up at home in Big Ten play, covered 4-5, average margin of victory at 10.2 points per game. Not only 5-0 at home, but a couple of real quality home wins over number 2 Purdue and number 10 Illinois. So it's not like they've beat up on the bottom half, solely the bottom half of the Big Ten lineup, but they've also beat some really, really good teams that are going to be contenders to get to the Final Four this year. And they're 11-1 straight up at home overall, meaning Northwestern. Ironically enough, their only loss at home came to Chicago State as a 24.5-point favorite. Go figure. Northwestern, their last 5 games overall, they've shot 47.5% from beyond the 3-point line. And this is a Nebraska team that's one of the worst, not only in the country, but at the bottom of the barrel in the Big Ten in terms of defending the 3 in conference play. This is also a Northwestern team that will be playing with revenge from a 75-69 loss at Nebraska earlier this season, and they failed to cover that game as a 3-point dog. And for what it's worth, Nebraska has won, or Northwestern, has won their last 3 at home against Nebraska. I'm going to have a small lean here. I'm not going to use this as a premium play. I do like the total a lot in this game, and I'm going to have that up very shortly over at gamblersworld.net. But I do like Northwestern here, minus the 5.5 over Nebraska. And folks, again, let's go for 3 in a row with our free picks. Sean?
I'm torn because I like Nebraska, but the road splits of these teams, they got crushed by double digits against everybody. I mean, they had a good game versus Illinois. Otherwise, they're getting beat by 17, and you got Northwestern off back-to-back losses. I'm like you. I can't really find a way to go here. I mean, you'd say Northwestern because they're home and the home teams have been winning, but I don't know. I can't. I'm sorry, folks. I mean, I lean Nebraska. I don't. It's not even a free pick for me. It's just a pass. And that's odd coming from a guy. I got like 10 picks up on midday money today for free picks. This game isn't even one I could get to.
Yeah, and again, Northwestern lost their last 2. They were both on the road, and as I alluded to, they're 5-0 at home. So, you know, if it was that easy, though, just to no-brain it, say Northwestern's 5-0 in conference play at home, and Nebraska's 0-6 in conference play on the road, it's never that easy, Jesse, but it's something you can't ignore, correct?
That is correct, and that's why my notes, I'm sitting here looking at my notes, and basically everything you said, Ross, the revenge game, the home-away splits. So I will agree with you. I like Nebraska. When I saw the opening line at 4, this is a game where I thought, geez, it opens at 4. If a little bit of money comes in on Nebraska based on their close game against Illinois, it goes down to 3.5. I would look at the money line for Northwestern here. That didn't work out. The line went the other way, and that kind of scares me off. I don't want to be on the wrong side of that line movement ever, but Nebraska was the side for me when I glanced at the opening line. They're still the side for me, but I probably won't get to the window on it based on missing out on the.
I think you meant Northwestern was the side for you.
Yeah, the 2 ends like that. They're doing their best to confuse me.
Yeah,
Northwestern,
I hear you.
Home favorite, -4. I had my eye on them. Goes up to 5.5. I'm probably no longer interested, but that's the side that I like.
All right, so reviewing again, folks, our official picks. I like Northwestern -5.5 at home against Nebraska. Sean Higgs is on Providence +115 on the money line against Creighton, and Jesse likes the Auburn Tigers -5.5 over Alabama. All games go tonight, Wednesday, February 7th. And let's get to Jesse and tell the folks, I know you've been on a roll. You went 3-0 yesterday, above and beyond that. What should the folks know about Jesse Schule going the rest of the week tonight and possibly for the weekend with the Super Bowl?
Well, starting with Super Bowl Sunday, rapidly approaching. I've got side and total available at gamblersworld.net. And if you followed my premium picks last year's Super Bowl, including props, you would have won 10 times your stake. We hit a plus 800 prop bet on Joe Burrow to lead the playoffs in passing yards. Ross still doesn't like that very much, but it cashed. And I've got a bunch of plus money props listed below my plays. So if you buy either my side or total, you'll see at the bottom of the analysis, there's a bunch of plus money props that I like included in that. So that is probably the highlight of the week. But aside from that, off a 3-0 day yesterday, I think 11-1 with my last 12 overall, over 60% winners for 2024. Things are going according to plan. And I love it when a plan comes together.
I like when you win, period, Jesse. I always like when you win. I just, that pick still to this day confuses the living hell out of me, which I guess that 15-year gap in age sometime.
Sean, you get it, right?
Comes
Yes.
in. Yes, he got it. He got it. And I like when Sean wins too. So Sean, tell us about how you're going to win this coming week and how you've been winning and what you may have coming up.
Yeah, winning for the 6 days of February, the 38 days of 2024 in the plus. College hoops has been good. I'll keep that going. NBA and hockey, we'll see if we find some winners. I know we just got over the NHL All-Star break, but here comes the NBA one about to come up as well. NFL, Super Bowl posted, packages up. Go check it out. And then soon enough, we'll roll into some MLB spring training betting, baby. Here we go. Just a month away, a couple weeks away.
Spring training betting. Wow. All right. That you're not going to ever get me to turn the leaf on. So in any event, don't forget, you can find Sean and Jesse at gamblersworld.net. It's there where we guarantee our picks. If you don't win, you don't make a profit on all single game, multi-game, daily packages, or subscription plans of 30 days or fewer. We will credit your account back the exact amount of what you paid. So we hope that doesn't come into play. Most of the time it won't. But if it does, you have that peace of mind. So there you have it, folks. And also go to gamblersworld.net and get in on the Super Bowl square. It's one per participant. It only costs you $10, and we're paying guaranteed. We're paying you $500 at the half or $500 for a final score if you're a winner. So it's only $10. Come on, $10 ain't going to kill you, and you got an opportunity to make some good money on the Super Bowl squares. Go to right now to gamblersworld.net. You'll see the banner right on the homepage. Click on that and get yourself going. You can find me at gamblersworld.net as well, as I mentioned. And my college basketball total 60-33 with my last 93. That's good for 65%. College basketball top plays, which I touched upon earlier, 116-86. 57% over my last 202. NBA top plays 39-21. 65% in football picks, college football and NFL combined, 170 and 139 over my last 309 football picks, and dime players made a little over 15,000 during that course of time. And I know a lot of you out there going 170 and 139. I could do it myself. If you were doing it yourself, you probably wouldn't be watching the show. So that's what my take is. Anyway, Jesse, tell the folks a little bit about what they should do with that like button.
Smash the like button.
Smash that like button, folks. Just a small token of your appreciation for the time, work, and effort we put into bringing you a quality podcast 6 times a week here on this great channel. And also, we want to keep you with the same theme that we've had from the beginning and continue to have, and that's to make you a smarter sports bettor today than yesterday. If you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, you'll see a black subscribe button right underneath the video box. And if you're on your PC, that subscribe button will be that WC logo you see. Click on either, and that will get you subscribed. It's absolutely free to do so. There's no hidden agenda. There's no strings attached. And take one step further. If you have subscribed and haven't done this, or if you're a new subscriber, go into your YouTube settings, click on that alert notification bell for the Winner's Circle Sports Betting channel, and you'll be notified immediately upon any of our future podcasts going up on our channel 6 times a week. Jesse and Sean will be back with me on Friday as we'll be discussing Super Bowl props. We'll also be taking all your questions and comments. We look forward to that show. We look forward to having you aboard with us, folks. So mark your calendar, 1 p.m. Friday Eastern time. And I'll be back tomorrow with Doug Upstone. We'll be talking more Super Bowl props. So until then, for Jesse, Schule, Sean Higgs, and Ross Benjamin, take care and God bless, folks.